Welcome back to this series in which I test out the brushes, and in this episode I am testing the Escoda Perla, and I have to apologize. This is a white bristle brush and I've used it already to do this test sheet and it stained the brush, so please don't freak out that it's a blue tip brush. It's a white tipped brush. It is the Escoda Perla. This is the round pointed size 10 and it is made with white Toray fiber, which Escoda notes as the highest quality synthetic brush. I've done a little bit of research on the Toray fiber and there's some uncertainty on what it actually is. Toray refers to the Japanese fiber company that does things like carbon fiber and stuff, and they also do nylon. There's some reference that it's probably nylon, but we're not quite sure because they haven't come out and said straight away. Toray supplies Escoda with fibers for two brushes, the Perler, and I can't remember what the other one is. But yes, Escoda holds them in high esteem according to their website. And I actually agree with them. It's a very nice brush. But it's a brush that is a little bit weird if you're not used to it, because it's not like other synthetics that I've tried, and it's not like natural fiber brushes that I've tried either. It's somewhere in between and somewhere new. It has a real smoothness to it that feels also quite artificial. It's quite hard to describe it. I wish I can buy this for absolutely everyone watching this video so you guys can try this at home. But hopefully my test will show you guys what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. So let's get going with this. As you can see, I haven't used it yet. I wanted to record this before I stained the brush because I know with it being a white brush that it's going to stain. But let's do the snap test. I think this is the snappiest out of the three Escoda ones that we've tried so far. It feels very firm at the tip. Down here, I thought, oh, it's going to be pretty soft, but when I touch it here at the tip, it feels very firm. In terms of water capacity, it did up to here, there's no whiteness, so let's count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines, which is pretty good because synthetics don't tend to hold that much water, so you usually only get about that much of solid lines, whereas we got more lines out of this than I was expecting. In terms of release, it's pretty actually even. There is some unevenness, but it's nice gentle unevenness rather than like a spot of dark. Right at the beginning you're gonna get dark spots because I was really loading up the brush, but if you don't overload it, then I think you're gonna get pretty smooth lines. I did notice though that right at the end on the fourth bump we did get frayed edges, so that's something to look for because it's still synthetic, so it's going to run out of water pretty quickly. But when you look especially around here, it goes down nicely, it comes up beautifully, and the brush stays together as you bring the brush up. So anything that's about up and down motions, like botanicals and leaves and florals and stuff, this will be great for. Max width, it doesn't go too wide. It is 1 centimeter max. So that's not huge, but I think that's okay. You get nice smooth offloading of water. You do get some frayed edges though, so if you're looking for a nice crisp solid line, then I would avoid this and go for something like the Pro Art Connoisseur, which created beautiful crisp lines. In terms of belly drag, it does run out of water quite quickly, but what I notice is that it's very even. So if you are looking to do lots of dry brushing, then this will be a great brush because you get nice large area of even dry brushing, but you also get nice consistent up and down. I think what this brush is versatile. It does well with a lot of things that maybe other brushes can't do all of the stuff. In terms of thin lines, you get pretty thin lines. I noticed that you get better thin lines if you do shorter lines. So if you do animal hairs and things, I think this will be a great one. If you want to get nice long thin lines though, I would probably stick to like a rigger brush rather than try to use this. Although I'm sure with experience and practice, you can get nice thin lines with this that are nice and long as well. In terms of leaf, I've actually put a note here saying comes back together nicely. It really does. When you go down and you come up, the fibers stick together and it stays together and it creates nice, lovely edges. I did get a little bit afraid because I wasn't paying attention to the water, how much water was on the brush, because I was getting so excited about how lovely this brush came up. So that is my fault, but it's also something that you need to look out for with this brush, is that it's going to need frequent reloading of your brush. In terms of snaking, I did notice a little stray edge here. Because it's a quite firm brush, it has nice snap to it. It will get some resistance of going around corners smoothly, and I'd again notice that there are all frayed edges around here. In terms of flat wash, you notice that with all the synthetic sable-like brushes I've done so far, it needed several loads to cover this area. This actually only needed 2 loads, which isn't okay. It's not 1 load, but for a synthetic narrow brush like this that isn't a mop brush, that's actually quite good water load. So that's what I mean, but it's like, it's good all-rounder, and it's halfway between natural brushes and normal synthetic brushes, in that this holds more water than a synthetic brush would, and this does better details than other brushes that I would expect it to have good amount of water holding in the brush. Gradation, I felt really in control of the amount of water that was in the brush. I really enjoyed doing the gradation with it, and just by running the brush on the edge of the jar and not even dabbing it on a piece of tissue or a towel, I got lovely gradation with fine control, spot on. In terms of lift, I would say this is a pretty good lift, but it's also not something to write home about. Dashes, I loved doing dashes with this brush. The tip, I felt really in control of doing the dashes and what kind of dashes that would come out. It also helped that I did this test after I did the test for the Escoda Perla, which was terrible. So in comparison, I was like, I am having so much fun just doing these dashes. So overall, this brush holds a lot more water than synthetic, but not as much as a natural, a moppy kind of fiber. So if you find it frustrating that a synthetic fiber brush doesn't hold enough water, but natural moppy or squirrely moppy brush is way too much for you, and you just want something in between, but that one that is versatile, it can do fine details. I mean, these are good thin lines. It does good leaves and ups and downs. This is a really good all-rounder. I was surprised by how good the Perler was. That's it for this video. If my gushings about this brush has convinced you to try this, then I will leave links down below to where you can get them. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment and share if you belong to a watercolor group or a watercolor forum. They really help with growing this channel, and I'm trying really hard this year. You might have noticed that we had been having 2 videos a week instead of just 1 video. I am trying really hard to grow this channel this year. Huge thanks to everyone who has supported me through this and doing everything you can to help grow this channel. I'm so grateful for all your support and love. In the next episode, we're going to move on to the Da Vinci's. And by the way, if you're wondering, like, wait, Escoda has other brushes. I'm just going to talk quickly about how I selected the brushes. It's kind of just rough and random in that I just went on to Jackson's for the European available brushes. I just went on to Jackson's and I listed them by price because I knew I didn't want to cover super expensive brushes because I feel really uncomfortable using expensive brushes and I don't want to use them because they take a lot of care. It's like watches. Expensive watches are the automatic ones where you have to keep winding them and they keep resetting the time because they really suck at keeping time. I have a real struggle with expensive things that need lots of looking after. I love cheap stuff that just is hardy. That's why I love the Pro Art ProLean Plus, because it requires no care and it will still carry on going for me. So this entire series, I'm not going to cover expensive brushes, and I'm also not going to cover brushes that I couldn't get hold of on Jackson's. So that's how we are doing this. And by the way, if there's a brush that you want me to review, then do let me know. If you can get one to me, that's even more wonderful. It will probably make it more likely that I will review the brush. My PO box is listed down there as well. But yes, I am going to do my best to try to cover reasonably priced brushes that are widely available. And I say Jackson is widely available because they will ship worldwide. I am also going to be covering a lot of Japanese brushes though, because that might be less easy to get hold of. So please do excuse me, but I just want to try them, and there's not many English reviews on those, so I hope you guys enjoy those as well. But the next episode is going to be Da Vinci, so do look forward to that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!